Not safe for work. What has been your unexpected not safe for work moment with a stranger? I was in a museum in France, in a room that was dimly lit in order to better show off the items on display. A man from behind me walked up next to me, stood super close and then grabbed my butt. I turned around to slap him, but when we locked eyes he had the most shocked, embarrassed and apologetic look on his face. He apologized profusely, I assume. I speak almost no French, and then ran into another room. I heard him whispering to a woman and then she busted out laughing. I can only assume that he mistook me for his girlfriend, and I like to think that some random French man occasionally cringes with embarrassment every time he thinks of our encounter. I was having a bathroom remodeled in my house. Sound did not travel in this place. I worked on a regular schedule, so when I would be home and awake could not be counted on, so I gave the plumbers access for when I wasn't there. One day I am sitting on my bed facing the mirror to put on my makeup. I hadn't gotten dressed yet, so anyway the plumber's assistant must have knocked, and getting no answer came in and started up the stairs to the bathroom. Halfway up I finally heard him and he got the full view of me. He just dropped his head and I quickly got up and closed the door to finish getting ready for work. I am certain the pool guy thought I set him up. The only thing that redeems me from that assumption was that the next day I got home while his boss was working, so I sat down in the living room and turned on the TV. He didn't realize I was there till he was halfway down the stairs and it nearly gave him a heart attack. Dude was whispering dirty things in my ears like I'm gonna frick you so hard later. Feeling creeped out I turned back and his expression changed from surprise to embarrassed. Turned out he thought I was his wife. I'm not even a woman. Went to a bar on Thanksgiving. Saw a cute girl sitting by herself. Bought her a drink, but told the bartender to not tell her who it was from, because she looked sad and like she wanted to be alone. He comes back a bit later when she was off talking on her phone and said she wanted to know who bought her the drink and if it was okay to tell her. I say okay. She asks if I want to go to a different bar and can I drive. I say sure. Then in the car she goes all peen actress and fricks the shit out of me in the driver's seat in broad daylight in a parking space in front of the bar. It was uncomfortable. We get to the next bar and join the crowd to get beers. A guy walks up and she and him immediately start arguing. Turns out it's her brother, and he's there to convince her to come back to the dinner at their parents' house, where she just introduced them to her fiance and then disappeared. When he turned to me and asked who the hell I was, I grabbed my phone out of my pocket, gave the just a minute finger, turned around, and got the frick out of there like my hair was on fire. Was about 15 driving home with my dad from his workplace, staring off from the passenger seat wondering what a shit life he had having to work weekends, and I spot a McDonald's across the street. It had a huge glass window around a playground where at that moment two pretty 20-something females seemingly happened to lock eyes with me. Dad turns over to look at what I'm looking at, probably thinking, this guy's hungry. At that moment the two women lift their tops to reveal two sets of the largest tits I had ever seen in real life or photo at that point. Me and my dad just start laughing our heads off. I was driving on a freeway. I pass a car that didn't have a roof and she was topless. Two teenagers flashed at me when I was driving to her ex-girlfriend's house. Not the craziest story, but it's stuck with me just because of how odd it is. I was at my retail job and there were no customers, just me, male, fresh out of college, and my co-worker, a semi-goth woman who was in her early 30s. Imagine if the girl who used to post Joy Division lyrics online and hang out in graveyards straightened out, but was secretly still into all that stuff at home. Anyway, it was just the two of us and this was basically the first time we had ever been alone together. We ended up talking about fashion and I mentioned how I typically wear darker colors. You would look really good in purple, she commented. As it just so happened, she was wearing a purple flannel, so I said, kinda like the shirt you're wearing? Maybe you should let me try it on. She then said okay and just took her shirt off at 2 PM in the middle of a GameStop at a mall. She, down to her bra, handed her shirt to me. Being the awkward person I am, I just said, thanks, then walked to the bathroom and honest to God just tried it on. Was a tad small for me. Then walked back out there and handed it to her. The weird thing was it didn't become this we will never speak of this type thing. nor an often referenced inside joke. I eventually did buy a purple flannel, and when I wore it to work she was pumped about it and asked if she could try on my shirt this time, which I obliged, though I was wearing an undershirt. Sister's friend asked me to hold her hand while she got her nipples pierced. Side note, almost got hand broken. I bought this gorgeous new dress that is light cream colored with a tree on it and red coming up from the bottom like a cheesecloth dipped in wine. I was so excited to wear it to school. Was walking across the quad and my underwear rolled down completely under my ass. No worries, I think. I'm fully clothed. Well, a dude was walking behind me, pretty slowly. Didn't think anything of it other than it was odd he walked that slow. I am very slow walker and this dude looked fit as hell. Anyway, fast forward to me walking in the bathroom to go pull up my underwear and a girl says loudly, "I can see all of your ass." And that's how I found out that dress was see-through in the middle. I was delivering pizzas and got caught in a pretty heavy Florida thunderstorm. I was on my last delivery and was trying to meet someone at a specific time later, so rather than wait it out I charged out of my car to the person's door. After some frantic knocking, a woman opened the door and pulled me inside. I had gotten there earlier than expected and she had just gotten out of the shower and was only wearing a towel. 19-year-old me had seen way too many teen movies start like that, so imagine my disappointment when she handed me a $20 pizza was $16 and opened the door back to hell. I met this girl on a bar crawl and we hit it off okay. Danced a little bit, but sparks weren't flying by any means. She's on the crawl with a group of friends. We are all walking back to their hostel and when we get there she says she's going to bed. I was pretty disappointed until her friend looked at me and told me to come upstairs. We had sex in the hostel bathroom and at one point girl number 1 walked in. Using the logic from my extensive peen viewing, I asked if she would like to join. If I've learned one thing from Peenog, it was that she wouldn't be able to resist. Alas, she seemed to pretty easily turn down the offer. At a Beastie Boys concert in the 90s, lost my friend so was hanging out in the crowd. Hands reach around my waist, I look down to see long beautiful fingernails, a black woman. It is sexy so I'm cool, I just keep dancing. Then the hands go down inside my shorts and she starts jerking me off right there. This goes on for 2-3 minutes. The weird part is that after she stopped I turned around and this beautiful black woman was walking away with another skinny white man. They obviously knew each other. He gave me a smirk. Got an ultrasound on my knee and when she was done she took a paper towel and wiped off as much of the lube as she could. And classic me, trying to be friendly and make small talk, I was like, "Oh, I bet you have so much experience doing that, right?" Totally meaning since she works as an ultrasound tech she must wipe lube off people all day. But she got all awkward and it dawned on me that I just told this woman she has lots of experience putting lube on people and taking it off. I got the random WhatsApp message with a kiss emoji and then a nude of a pretty good looking girl lying down, showing her boobs. She quickly replied that it was a wrong number and asked me to delete it. I didn't know this girl, neither do I think she was anywhere near where I lived. I thought it was just some sort of joke or troll. I have experienced weird random WhatsApp messages before where I luckily dodged the bullet of bullies trying to gain your nudes, posing as a flirty girl with a random number and then share your photo with everyone. I didn't delete the chat, but ignored it, thinking someone was pulling a prank. About 1 year later, I was cleaning up my WhatsApp chats and I see she had a new profile picture of her, but with a guy that I didn't know either. It actually started to seem like the photo was legit. I just did the right thing and deleted everything. Taking a dump at work, just minding my own business. Janitor comes in and starts cleaning the bathroom. No problem. Then he jiggles the door. EHH. No big. He'll figure someone is in there and leave it for later. No. My panic sets in as he jimmies the door open and I finally make a noise and he locks eyes with me for a split second before closing the door and saying sometimes they lock themselves. Sorry. What the frick, man. I was body surfing at a public beach in 2004, and I caught such a fast and perfect wave that I sped out of the water faster than I ever have. But when I stood up I realized my boob popped out of my swimsuit top. I fixed my top and ducked into the water and looked around to check if anyone had seen, but nobody saw, or so I thought. I decided it was a good time to leave immediately. On my walk back, some dad age guy comments to me, "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone." I was mortified, and I think I shot him a death glare. By the way, I was a teenager. I had tons. But the most unexpected one is the homeless guy who's choking his chicken in the middle of the street at 3 in the morning. We were just walking home after watching Endgame in my friend's house. When we saw the homeless guy, we all just laughed very discreetly and one of my friends said, "Whatever it takes." An old lady, late 60s early 70s, grabbed my ass in line at a cafe and whispered, "I love a tight young man." Didn't know how to respond, so I just said "frick off cunt" and left. Felt gross for the rest of the day. Took a shower the second I got home for some reason. Caught some dude watching me take a shit through the crack in the stall door at a rest area. Had sex with a woman the second time meeting her. We went on a hike and ended up fricking in the burnt out husk of a redwood tree. Does that count? I was at a punk show when I was 18 and I was pushing my way up to the front. This older chick, probably about 25, was in front of me and started pushing back against me. After a few moments, she kinda started grinding on me. Then she reached back, took my hands, and pulled them up to her boobs. She pulled her shirt and bra up and kept my hands on her tits for the whole set. A few times, I tried to take them away, and she forcibly grabbed my hands and brought them right back to her tits. I probably grinded with this girl with my hands on her tits for a good 40 minutes before the band, Darkbuster, started cheap wine and cigarettes and I had to pull myself away and run up on stage to sing along. She wrote her name and number on my arm at the end of the night, but I was so sweaty and covered in beer that it rubbed off immediately. I still remember her name, though. Paige, if you see this, thanks for giving a horny teenager a great night. Met this hot girl at a dance club in my early 20s, go back to my car, commence sex. 5 minutes in, her girl squad comes and finds us boning in the car. About 6 of them or so, pretty attractive friends too. And they start rooting, cheering me on. The girl I am boning keeps saying my friend's a hot A, while she rides me hard. Her friends tease me by hugging each other and kissing their necks outside of the car and fondling each other while I am trying hard to not come so I can enjoy the show. I was hoping they would join, but they only teased till I came. I lost it and couldn't last any longer when they started flashing their tits. I figured this would probably be the only time I could come while looking at like 8 pairs of boobs, lol. Shortly after they all left. Been chasing that high for the last 12 years. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more r/AskReddit content. Be sure to check out our playlist, link in the description below.